Hello and welcome to the Pin Man. Today we are going to be taking a look at the Jinhao X159. During this video, I'm going to show you the parts of the pin, do some size comparisons, writing sample, etc., etc. And then at the end, I'm going to take more time to share my views of the pins, both pros and cons and so forth. Okay, so let's get to it. Here it is, the Jinhao X159. It is a cartridge converter setup with a number 8 nib, and I'll go through all the parts here in just a second. The nib is a fine, but I would call it a fine medium. I bought this obviously in the red, but it does come in black, blue, gray, and green. I think the gray looks a little odd, but whatnot. It just in case you want it, if you're a sailor and like the haze gray underway, right? All right, the clip is it's a basic clip, but it is firm. All right, let's go ahead and go through parts of the pin and give you a little closer look at them. Again, there's the cap finial, and it is a nice smooth piece there. The transition from the finial to the rest of the cap it's noticeable, but it's smooth, and it's not bulky noticeable. In other words, it really doesn't stand out in a cheap looking way. I like the way the clip has that little bit of flat piece there, and it slightly peaks down the middle. I don't know if you can tell that right there. I think I got that in there. And then if you look at it this way, you can kind of see a peak. It's not real distinct, but it's there. And you come around here, you can tell that it's folded metal, and then underneath you can see it there as well. Come around here, see, get a little different look there. And then on the band, it says Jinhao, and turning it around, X159. And the band, as you get up a little closer there, you can see that it's got a little bit of, on the top and the bottom of the band, a little step down. And I think that's just a little bit of detail that I kind of like. Now, if you notice on the cap is somewhat rounded. I mean, if you flick it like this, you can kind of feel a little rough edge, but not like this. So when you got the body on there, it's a nice smooth transition. So there's your cap threads. They are plastic. As I said, you can tell as you step down from the body, or from the cap to the body, it is has a slightly rounded edge there. Come down to the body here, and then you have another transition that, again, it's a smooth transition. It is noticeable slightly, but it is smooth. And you come up here to the body finial, and unfortunately you got this little nib there from the injection molding. Now, why they couldn't make this finial like they did the cap finial, I have no idea. I mean, I know in injection molding there does come a place where you know the plastic has to, the hot plastic or the liquid plastic anyway, has to go into the mold, and that's where it is. And that may have been just like an end piece. Maybe they make these pieces together as one piece, and then they cut it down the middle, and that's just where it comes in. I don't know, but anyway, it sure would have been nice if they could have done away with that, but be that as it may. Alrighty, to take the cap off this pin, it is going to require 1, 2 1/4 turns. Okay, you take the cap off, and there you have your feed, and it's a pretty decent sized feed there, I thought, and your number 8 nib, and there it is. This one's gold, and gold plated, obviously. It's a steel nib, gold plated, and it's got the little scroll work. It has the Jinhao Chariot with Jinhao written underneath there, and the fine. Okay, there you have the grip section along with these threads and the step down from the body. This is a very comfortable transition. The threads are not sharp, and then that step down is just slight. So as you hold it in your hand, you know, it's comfortable. I think it's very comfortable. Okay, let's see. Let's take the body off. I think I put the O-ring on there. I can't swear to it, but I believe I did. I think I used a preppy O-ring on that. Anyway, so then this part here is metal. It's probably like a gold plating on there or some sort of. And then you have the converter there. Usually Jinhao will have Jinhao on its converter, but on this one it is not the case. Converter fits in there pretty snug, so no problems there. If I can get that back on. And I like the fact that, yeah, I put that on there. I'm pretty sure I put that. I apologize, I can't remember. I've been kind of playing around with O-rings and my pins for the sake of converting them to eyedropper pins. All right, how about some measurements here? The body length from the tip of the nib down to the end of the finial, body finial there is 130 millimeters. Capped, the pin is 148 millimeters. The girth of the body is 14.5 millimeters. The grip is, and I believe I measured it from the end of the threads out to the end of the grip there, and it's approximately 15 millimeters. It's 22 with the threads. The girth is 12.5 millimeters right there in the middle of the section, the grip section, and I think that's pretty good. 20. So the weight, the overall weight of this pin is 28 grams, and just the body, it is 18 grams. Okay, how about some size comparisons? All right, here you have the Jinhao X159. Over here you have the Pilot Custom 823. This is the Jinhao X750 and the Pilot Metropolitan. Here they are uncapped, and here they are posted. I thought it'd be kind of neat just to do a little size comparisons of the nibs. This is the Pilot Custom 823, a little narrower, a little bit shorter, but of course I'd go with this nib of the Pilot any day over the Jinhao, but be that as it may. And then we have the the Pilot Metropolitan there. Boy, that's a what's this, a number 4 nib, I think they would call it. Boy, that is a big difference. And hold it in your hand. Of course, the Metro, the angle is a lot different than the X159. Just thought that'd be interesting. Alrighty, time now for a writing sample of the Jinhao X159. This is a fine nib, but writes more like a fine medium, which I was happy I was really disappointed when, in fact, I held off buying this pen because I was hoping that Jinhao would come out with more nib sizes, which is a downside for this pen, just the one nib size. But fine and medium being a couple of the most popular nib tip sizes, that this is a good compromise between fine and medium. So, okay, what ink do I have? What ink do you think I have in here? Let's see if you guessed it right. Remember, let's see, we'll get that color there. Okay, so what ink would go well with this pen? You are about to find out what I think. And of course, that's all dependent on what I have in my collection of ink, which isn't huge, but diamond. Okay, what is it? You got it. Oxblood. All right, this is a smooth writer. Only, the feedback, you just know that you have a nib on the page, that's all. But it is smooth. Good. Whichever way you stroke, even up, it's smooth. The reverse writing, there is a scratchiness to that. If you rotate it though, which I just did, it's not so bad. Let's see. And that flow is really good. So there you're going to have like an extra fine probably. Extra fine, maybe. That's good. Let's see. Wetness. Always got to do that one. Okay, that's good. Line variation. Not really. You can get some more ink out, of course, when you press down. But as far as variation, it's not there. See, how does it do on the drag test? Dragging the nib, that is. Okay, it does a good job. All right, what do I think about this pen? Yep, give it a smiley. The Penman Smiley. All right, there you go. Okay, I want to go over, first of all, the pros and cons of the Jinhao X159, and then I'm going to give some closing remarks regarding this fountain pen. First of all, on the pros, I think the price is excellent for a pen of this quality, and I mean, it's not Montblanc quality, but it is a good quality pen. I think $10 is a great price. Second, I like the colors. They are fitting for the type of pen that this is. It's not one of those pens like the Lamy Safari, one of the fun pens that you would expect to have more vibrant colors, the Pilot Metropolitan with all their pop colors and that kind of thing. This is a one that you would expect to see on a entry level, lower executive. Higher executives, you expect them to maybe have a Montblanc, but anyway. So it, with the black and the deep red, the forest green, the blue, kind of a slatish type of blue, I think is nice. Fit this pen very well. The weight, I like the weight of the pen. You feel like you have something in your hand, but it's light. It's a lot better than its predecessor, the 159. It just feels really good in your hand. You could do long writing sessions with it, no problem. And then there's just the basic style. It is understated, I guess the phrase would be. There's nothing flashy about it, but it's nice. It's just got some class to it, and it's just it's not too basic. With the Sailor King of pens, you don't have some of the, you know, marks, the bands and that thing around, and that sort of thing on it, which isn't a bad thing, but I'm just saying that this, you know, the trim on this is nice with the color and all that, but it's not real gaudy. As far as the cons, I believe that the one nib size, only in fine, is, I think Jinhao should have at least gone with a medium or even an extra fine, because you know, a lot of you out there like those extra fines. But I'm really surprised that they didn't. But at least this fine doesn't write like a fine that some of us are used to, that it's just too fine. It's just too much feedback and whatnot on the paper. So I think Jinhao should have gone out. They should have known that it was going to be a popular enough pen to warrant having more sizes. Obviously, it's a number 8. It's a different size, but size of the nib itself. But the nib tips could have had some more variety. So that's a con. And then the 2.5 quarter turns to get the cap off. If you're somebody that does a lot of taking your cap off, putting it back on, then, you know, that's going to get a little old after a while. Maybe you get used to it, I don't know. But for me, it's not that big of a problem. Although the cap is a little bit big, that I can't get it in my pin holder, so I'd have to make a larger pin holder for it. But anyway, so for me, if I'm just going to do straight writing, going to be writing for a while, I don't need to cap it anyway. When I was using it, it wasn't that big of a deal, but yeah, they could have at least one more turn less would have been good. My overall impressions of this pen is that it is a good pen. It's got a good style and so forth. It is not a Montblanc 149, but again, if you have the wherewithal to buy a Montblanc 149, you're not going to mess with one of these anyway. But maybe you do have the wherewithal, or at least you're looking on eBay or some other auction site. You're really being careful and so forth. You're looking for a used one, but you're not really sure how the size of a Montblanc 149 would fit. And you're not that close to a boutique store, a brick and mortar fountain pen store that sells Montblancs to go in there and actually give it a test drive. I think this would be a very inexpensive option for you to buy this pen and then try it out, because really the size and weight is very similar. That's about 2 grams. The body is about 2 grams lighter than the Montblanc 149. And that's because 149, of course, has the piston filling mechanism in there, so that adds a little bit of weight, extra weight to it. You know, this just has I have the converter in that right now, but that's about it. And so as far as how it feels in your hand, I think this would be a good way to kind of test drive that weight. I'm glad I did, because if I ever, and I probably won't, but if I ever had a chance to get a 149, I know that I would like it, because previously I wasn't too sure. You know, too fat, it can be a little uncomfortable, and especially if they're heavy like the Jinhao 159. That's big and it's heavy, so I think it's a good pen. I think it'd be well worth your investment if you like a good writer, if you like something with a little more girth to it, if you like lightweight but you like to feel that you have a pen in your hand, if you like a pen that you're not angled like this so much, but you can angle down a little bit more, this is good. I think overall, I like this pen. I recommend it. Y'all have a good day.